Yeah. Some translation.
That part, I have to say, is kind of fun. We hosted exchange students from Mexico twice now, and it's been great experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's a little bit after 9, and we promised this hour that we would do Synod shorts and entertain questions to the officers of the Synod, including the new bishop-elect, and that we would celebrate the Synod shorts. Aren't they ugly? The logo and everything. There's been fights over those things over the years. If you'd like to share something about the ministry of your parish, I invite you to come up and just sort of form a line. Maybe you can sit in the front chairs here, and we'll just use this microphone so that you can have amplification to speak and tell us the story of your ministry.
You may end up saying
Otherwise, we have the officers here.
We're just hiding our first.
And I think
Is there anything on that mic?
we're moving a mic.
Not really.
It's going. It's going to go right there. So why don't you use that microphone if you have a question for the officers. Otherwise, come up here for doing Synod shorts.
I'm not sure where I'm going.
And we'll get the portable mic for Joanna. You have a Synod short? Come on right up here. If you have a Synod short, come up and sit in these front chairs, and then just take a table, take a turn at the microphone.
Well, maybe you've already heard about this at St. Luke. A number of years ago, a young parishioner of ours died quite suddenly. Her name was Kira. And I think she had already, amazing, she had already donated her hair to Locks of Love 2 times already. And she was like, I don't know, 12 years old? Something like that. Anyway, so her mom started Kira's Closet, and we gather in food and sometimes books and shoes and all kinds of things. And it started in the church basement, and then we found out that was illegal because too many people were coming. And so we moved to another location because there's so many people coming that's open, I think once a month, for people to come and take the things that they need to clothe their family.
I'm Joanna Williams from St. John's Lutheran in Medical Aid. 15 years ago, this past August, I was flown over to University of Washington Hospital, given 2 to 4 weeks to live. That was in '01. As the doctor stood around my bed and told me all this bad news, the cancer was the size of a large orange, it went from the knee to the hip. Well, they took care of that. I said, Lord, if you have work for me to do, I'll live. If it's my time to go home, your will. Well, I live, so then I'm like, well, Lord, what is it you want me to do? And the word community cropped up everywhere, television, magazines, newspapers. Okay, Lord, community. What? Then I saw an ad in the Genie Free Press for Feed Genie. I went there 2 months in a row, took notes, went back. Pastor Steve and his wife Linda were there, and I said, you know, we could do this at our church. Somebody could get it started. And Linda turned around, she said, you're somebody. Feed Medical Aid will celebrate 6 years in June, the second Monday of June, starting at 4:15 in the evening. We give away groceries. At 5 o'clock, we serve the meal. In the 5.5 years we've been in business, we have given away over 48,000 pounds of food, and we have served almost 8,000 meals.
Peace be with you. Thanks. My name is Pastor Lee Larson Andrews, and I serve Salem Lutheran Church in Spokane. just north of here, north of the river. This past week, something happened at Salem that I would never wish on any community, and many of you already know. Someone found an open door sometime on Monday night or Tuesday morning and entered our building and then pretty extensively vandalized our space. Not in a spiteful or hateful manner, and nothing was taken, it wasn't theft, but just sort of messy mischief in a lot of rooms. So I would never wish that on anyone, but what I would wish is that every congregation could experience what happened the next day, and that is that upwards of 40 people, mostly non-members, mostly people from the community, people from the Synod, many of you, including our bishop, the director of Lutheran Community Services, just person after person after person filled our building and helped us clean. And I actually did no cleaning that day because I was spending the morning talking to the press, which is one of those pastoral duties, which is kind of surprising. And I continue to feel just sort of borne up on the sense that if Salem is anything, it is not alone. We are indeed church together, so I feel like I was it was evangelism in reverse. The community was Christ to us. So I wish that somehow, without the vandalism, can happen for all the congregations of our synod. We are so together, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for telling us that.
We have a special guest with us, two special guests, in fact. Rainer and Crystal Schaap from Germany are with us. Please stand and be introduced to the room. He's a great friend of Africa and the church in Africa, and he has been serving as our building consultant on the Tumaini School project as a volunteer, believe it or not, from Germany, working with the Tanzanian friend there locally. It is a wonderful partnership. We couldn't possibly be doing this without your assistance. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you. And this, of course, is Marge Nishek and her husband from Bonners Ferry, our wonderful congregation. Marge has been the chair of the Companion Synod program for many years, led me and others to trips to our Companion Synod, and went to Tumaini to meet the shocked and begin to put together the contract for building this. So here is the other beautiful servant of our church who is helping us do the work that we want to do in South Central Tanzania. Thank you so much.
Good morning, I'm Pastor Holly Benji, and right now I'm a chaplain at Sacred Heart Medical Center. 2015, I decided as I was approaching that midlife, 50 years old, to get a genetics test. And I was found to have BRCA2, which means I was pretty much guaranteed 100% to get ovarian cancer and breast cancer. So I did. I didn't want cancer. I work at the hospital. I see what happens. And I decided to get a mastectomy and remove my ovaries and fallopian tubes. And I tell you this because as a single person with a home and a job, you don't have a lot of flexibility financially. So I made an application to the SHARE grant and asked for just a half a month salary, about $1,500, and I got a check for $3,000. And that was such a relief because my one surgery ended up being 5 surgeries, and instead of 6 weeks off, I had 10 weeks off because of complications. So I'm just so grateful to the SHARE grant, the council, Pastor Martin Nelson and Bishop Wells for their support. Thank you.
Trinity in Nampa. A couple of fun things. First of all, April 30th marked the second year anniversary of Trinity New Hope. Trinity New Hope began with a share grant, and our little church took a huge leap of faith, and we bought 16 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes with single-car garages, and we run an affordable housing ministry. And it surrounds our church parking lot. If you're ever in the area and want to see it, it's an amazing ministry. We are doing what no one else in our community can do because we do it as a nonprofit. And so we have learned how to form a nonprofit. We now have a nonprofit corporation. We've learned how to do a lot of things. There's a steep learning curve. But I guess I want to challenge anybody, don't be afraid to leap in faith that because we are a small church and we are not heavily endowed at all. We have very, very little endowments, but we bought 16 homes starting with the share grant to provide an affordable housing ministry to our community. So we're pretty proud of that. The other thing that's kind of cool is that we had our church, because we now have a lot of people coming and going that are outside. We have our office for Trinity New Hope is in our church, and so we have tenants and prospective people coming. We have a lot of handicapped tenants as well. Our bathrooms in our facility are not handicap accessible at all, not a one. We don't have a changing table, we have nothing. And so our church put together a casino night fundraiser, and it was just packed out. We had casino games, and it was really cool. It was and we were able to raise the money, and we are currently rebuilding our bathrooms today.
It is. It's back on. Great. So here's a question. We have Senate officers up there from 18 years, 12 years, 7 years, newly elected. We've heard lots about our challenges, but maybe what could you share of one thing that each of you is really excited about over the next 3 years?
Okay, what I'm excited about is the fact that we are, as a small Senate, we are we've done really well at growing our share grant and our funding for Leaders in Mission, and people have been very generous and have supported those things. We have been able to give back to people, for example, Holly, people in need. And so yes, we keep a tight budget, and yes, we're very frugal and trying to be good stewards of our money, but we are generous in being able to give back. And it's exciting for us to be able to get together and decide, and give scholarships and give grants to help people in need and start new ministries. And I think there's hope there because great things are happening, and we're excited about that.
What am I excited about over the next 3 years? I see in the 12 years that I've been involved with Senate Council, and expanding my walls from being bound in the walls of my congregation to growing out and meeting people from other congregations and meeting people from church life. I'm excited about the continuation of that expansion for all of us, and also to see how we are coming together. We're working together, we're collaborating, we are sharing ideas, we are sharing our ministries. It is a time when I can see a real bursting of our excitement and our enthusiasm and our working together. And I am so grateful to be a part of this.
So there's a couple things that come to mind for me. Our campaign, My Senate Moving and Mission Together, I know Martin reported on where we are, and I'm really hoping the next phase after the dinners and all the locations is we really get the congregations excited and involved to bring it to conclusion. And that's going to take probably some conversations with your council as they plan the budgets to include it as part of the budget each year, because I think that will help get it over the top. And again, if you look at the endowments that we've established, and I reported last night about the campus ministry one, I think after this assembly, it's, we started at 30,000, it's probably going to be over 40,000 because of your generosity. So that, again, that would be fun to support campus ministry with those grants. The other thing, and again, I reported on this in my report, is the estate planning for the heart, and giving those models out to you where you can not only use them as a ministry in your congregation, but it invites your community in. Because I had conversations with people at my work that were doing this work, and there's a lot of people that have no plan for end of life. They're very curious to learn about the whole process. So I see those as two big initiatives we need to continue.
Okay, we got it started now. One of the things I want to bring up, when I went to Africa with Wayne March, we follow what's happening with Tumaini, and what I want you to understand is it's not us and them. They're not on the other side of the world. I mean, they're a Facebook message away, and we hear from them all the time. And when I toured the site and we went to Lugala Hospital, we spent time there, and they are so joyful and so grateful. And our pennies changed their lives. I mean, what we spend for a cup of coffee can do things there that it's hard to put a price tag on. But they are the epitome of faith and action. And what I want you to realize is that they have their own struggles, but we really are a community together with them. And it's a small world. And so I'm really proud, and we should be excited about this partnership with them, because when we were there, Bishop Ntenji he was a teacher. I mean, we spent time with them and their kids and watched their kids play. And they have the same leadership and longevity there that we do here. And we keep in contact with them. And so it's really a small world, and this partnership is important, and we should nurture it. And I encourage you to be excited about it and consider getting involved. I was under the impression that after yesterday, I didn't have to answer any more questions. For me, what I am most excited about is I'm not entirely sure anymore how many vacancies and congregations we have in transition right now. I knew that Friday. I'm not sure what I know today. So, but it's a long list. And what I'm excited about, with both understandings of that word, is that the Spirit is clearly on the move. And things are going to be changing. And so what I know is that 3 years from now, we're going to be a different synod than we are today. What that will look like, I don't know. What leaders will come in and fill those vacancies, I don't know. But I know that they will be the ones that God has for us, and they'll bring gifts that we need. And I'm just really excited to see where we go with all of that change and opportunity ahead of us. So that's what I'm excited about.
This question's for the new bishop. I'm Denise Davis, and I'm from Chewilla, Washington. Very small church. We get an average of about 20 people a Sunday. Cannot afford a pastor at this time. What are you going to do for the small rural churches that cannot afford pastors?
Well, that's an excellent question, Denise. What I can tell you is that a lot of my ministry was shaped in small rural congregations. One of my first call parishes worshiped 6 people. And I was the youngest by about 40 years when I was there.
So I have a heart for rural ministry, and I know that for a lot of our rural congregations, if you lose your congregation, you don't have other options of places to go to church. And I also know that when rural congregations close, it impacts the entire community, even the people that don't attend church there or are not members there. The church is really important in those rural communities in a way that it is not as important in our more urban ministry sites. So my goal and what I would try to do is find ways to creatively keep you on the ground and doing ministry. And what that looks like, working with leadership, a full-time pastor is really expensive. We just are, and I'm sorry. I wish we could be free, and I think a lot of us wish we could be free because we don't get into this gig to get rich. We get into it to work with God's people. But there are financial realities we all have to deal with, so we have to get creative. But I don't necessarily think that the automatic response to any congregation in that position is, well, then you're just done. I think we have some options in front of us that we can play with, whether that's partnering, whether that's sharing a pastor, whether that's bringing in one of our lay leaders, whatever that might look like. But they're very important. They're very important. In many ways, they're more important than our urban congregations because they're on the very front lines of that ministry. So hopefully that answered it.
I'm Pastor Matt Erickson from Calvary Lutheran Church, and somewhere around 20 years ago, a group of people at Calvary noticed that there was no way for people that didn't have the money to buy groceries to get food. There was no food bank. So they started a food bank in our little church, and very quickly it became clear that the need outgrew what Calvary was able to do, even with the help of a Rotary Club, and so it moved and started its own enterprise and kind of moved away from Calvary. And over the years, our relationship with that food bank sort of separated, except for that we have a garden that produces tens of thousands of pounds of food for it, which is wonderful. But this past year, the director of the food bank came to us and said, Calvary, we need you. We don't have enough space for our backpack program in our warehouse. We need a safe place, and you happen to be centered right in the middle of where all the schools are. Can we have some space? And so now in our library, where we have many groups meeting every week, we also have boxes and boxes and boxes of food. And we pray over them, and we thank God for them, and we pray for the kids that they're going to go to. And so the food bank has come home, and it has come home bigger and better than we ever could have imagined, because we were willing to let go of it and say, it doesn't just belong to Calvary, it is for the whole community. So that was really cool.
Helga Jansen, Director for Evangelical Mission Brass Synod. The Bible is filled with stories of how God has acted in the lives of people and in the lives of communities. And we turn to God's Word for inspiration, we lean on it, we look to it for remembering how God has acted in people's lives. And so this very act of sharing stories is the continuation of that, the living Word amongst us. So you've heard me talk about mission interpretation a lot, and this is that. This is like, mission interpretation is just the system for bringing these stories together and putting them somewhere, like canonizing the books of the Bible or something like that. But the point being that every story that you have to share, whether it's in the congregation or personally in your life, is something that you can share with the synod in various ways. Every synod newsletter, every monthly synod newsletter has a half a page, and we share mission interpretation stories there. I coordinate the insert that is quarterly in the Living Lutheran, which used to be the Lutheran magazine. Now it's called Living Lutheran. And they can go online in the ELCA as
well that way, but we have an insert that's just for our synod. We also have mission interpreters that are sharing the stories of other people's ministries across the synod. So if you have a story, even if you don't come up and share it, please write it up in as small as half a page or a whole page or however you want to do it, and then send it to the synod office, and we'll find a place so that people can share it with each other. Because God's work is still alive in us, through us, in our communities, just as God was and alive in those stories that were captured in the Bible. So thank you for sharing and continue. And in terms of my hope, that's where my hope comes from, is for us to see that God is alive and at work through us and between us all the time.
My name is Elaine Harrison. I am from Fullness of God Lutheran Church at Holden Village, which has privilege none of you have. We don't have to pay for buildings, so whatever comes into us goes out as benevolence. But I also want to talk to you on behalf of Holden Village, which is your retreat center in this synod. We are alive and well and welcoming people to come back, and that happens because all of you and the rest of the church has held Holden in prayer during the remediation time. We hope that it will be a place that you can come and renew yourself. Come as a family. We are still looking for volunteers. And there's a lot going on, and the Spirit is alive and well, and the gospel is being preached, and we welcome you to come to our little tiny valley in the mountains.
Good morning. I'm Pastor Gina Herman of New Day Lutheran down in Idaho Falls. And I wanted to share with you a couple of different things that we've been really excited about that have just blown us away in the past couple of months. The first one is that we are a congregation under development. And that means we're not a fully fledged congregation yet, but we are really, really close. And that is in large thanks to all of you. They were talking yesterday about the big picture, the church, the synod, and then nationwide church of the ELCA. And we're all interconnected, and it is through funding from the mission folks in Chicago that we receive the ability to do ministry in Idaho Falls. And when you give in your congregations to the synod, and the synod gives there, then you are giving to us as well. And so I just want to give you a big thank you, first of all, for supporting us in that ministry. And just to share an example of some of the things we're doing, this is the most recent one. We've slowly been gathering teenage youth in our congregation and junior high youth. And initially when these youth started coming, I was trying to figure out ways that we can come together and just learn more about each other. So we started doing regular just events together, going camping, doing things at the local